Happy Tuesday, everybody out there in television land. We're now renewing our FCC license on a weekly basis. This is the NCW Life Channel. I am Dan Kuntz, your host, and welcome to a Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, 13th day of August 2019, and a good-looking day at that. We have a beautiful week in store, sunny and mild, but not hot. Yesterday was just a perfect day. I want to have another perfect day. We have to accept these in August. August is usually pretty hot. And it was pretty hot last week, but not so much this week. We have a good-looking weather forecast for you, the kind of weather you want to just get out and enjoy. Very hard to spend a great deal of time indoors this time of year. My favorite month of all is September. I can't wait for September. September is my favorite month because everything seems to be happening in September. Normally the weather is perfect. You can still get in all those things that you like to do, knowing that winter will eventually come. So September is my favorite. August isn't too bad. Actually, all of the months are fine, so long as you get up and get going. And you got up and got going with us, and we appreciate it. Good show for you today. Got a lot of news to get to. Still some residual effects from the rainstorm on Saturday night. We'll talk about that when we get to news. Also, it's playoff baseball time for the Wenatchee AppleSox. We went to Paul Thomas Senior Field and videotaped our conversation with Joel Norman, the voice of the AppleSox, and Kyle Krustangel, the head coach of the Wenatchee AppleSox, as they start their playoff push tonight. The Victoria Harbor Cats are in town. Game one is tonight at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium on the campus of Wenatchee Valley College. That entire conversation with Kyle and Joel will come up in the second half of the program. Plus, we have Mike McNaughty's opinion. Mike used to be a hippie. Did you know that? He's going to talk about that. Plus, we have birthdays today in history and the obscure holiday. So if you're ready, and I'm ready, and Megan's ready, let's start pushing some buttons and see what's going on out there in North Central Washington with our high-definition pan, tilt, and zoom cameras. Yes, it's a PILT camera. It's payment in lieu of taxes. Very few people know that. There's the Wenatchee Valley proper, so much about a five-star show. It took me exactly 2 minutes and 27 seconds to have my first mistake of the day. There'll be many more. Good morning, Wenatchee. Good morning, East Wenatchee. Good morning, Sunny Slope. Good morning, Birch Mountain. Good morning, Badger Mountain. Good morning, everybody. And thanks for starting your day with us. Another beautiful day and a great shot there to really give you an idea of how much this valley has grown in the last 10 to 12 years. As the orchards continue to disappear and the housing developments continue to come in, people have discovered our little secret. And like it or not, there's no way you can keep them from coming. And quite frankly, I don't blame them. Camera number 2. Where are we off to, Megan? I don't know. I have to guess. I look at it and I think, okay, that's Bear Mountain. Am I correct? I am correct. Bear Mountain. Bear Mountain's one of the easier ones because Wapato Point is rather dramatic. You can't miss that. Sticks right out there looking towards the Manson area. Of course, Bear Mountain is one of the great golf courses in North Central Washington, especially the back nine. I really like the back nine at Bear Mountain. So pop on up there, say hi to Vaughn and the boys, get a little golf in. Good time to hang around the lake. It's still tourist season, of course, but the lake is pretty quiet on Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays. It's when you get to Thursdays and towards the weekend when you start having the lake effect is what they call it, especially towards Chelan proper, where the lake can get a little choppy with all the boats and the jet skis and everybody out enjoying the beautiful Lake Chelan area. Camera number 3 is a slow dissolve to Jump Off Ridge. Yay, I got one right. Good morning, Jump Off Ridge. Good to see you. Great view of the East Wenatchee bench there, very dramatic view. Malaga a little out of sight. We've moved that just a little bit, so the Columbia River, you can see it. You can see the Highlander Golf Course way off in the distance. That's one of our higher cameras. That's how the system works, of course, for the Sky-Fi system. You have to have the towers up in high areas for the system to work at its peak performance. And camera number 4 is Blag Mountain. Hey, I went 4 for 4. Blag Mountain is high above the greater Peshaston area. That is Leavenworth that you see down there on your screen. It's been a good year for the Autumn Leaf Festival float. Pretty much every parade that they participated in, they won an award, with one exception, the Lilac Parade, the Torchlight Parade in Spokane back in May, because, well, the float broke down, so they weren't actually in the parade. Outside of that, people really like it when the Autumn Leaf Festival float pops into town for their festivals. And, of course, the Autumn Leaf Festival is coming up the last weekend in September. So good morning, Leavenworth, and good morning to everybody in North Central Washington on a drop-dead gorgeous Tuesday, the 13th day of August 2019. And at 5 minutes after the hour, if it's okay with you, from the National Weather Service. That way, if you don't like the weather, you can blame the government. Let's take a look at the forecast, and there's really nothing to talk about there. Just gobs of gooey good sunshine. According to the National Weather Service, quiet weather, benign weather, pretty much all week long with the inland northwest in a zonal flow. A zonal flow. Sounds like a really bad band, doesn't it? Hi, what do you do? I'm the keyboardist for Zonal Flow. We're going to be playing the Gorge this weekend. So just sunny, dry, warm. Yesterday's high was 81. Are we going to get to 89? Yeah, probably more like 86 or 87. We're at 61 now. So yesterday's high of 81, our normal high is about 87 degrees. Yesterday's low was 58 and normal would be 62. Nothing really to talk about there. Pretty quiet, super slight chance of a shower way to the east or way to the north of us once we get towards the weekend. Notice how we go from sunny to mostly sunny. So we'll have a few passing clouds on Friday and Saturday, but I got no complaints at all. That just looks fantabulous indeed. Sunrise this morning at 5:54. Sunset tonight will be at 8:16. That buys us 14 hours and 22 minutes of daylight for everybody here in the Wenatchee Valley. And one quick note, I wanted to mention this. I got an email from a viewer. Wanted to know about the Waste Management Transfer Station. Remember, they had that fire back on August 6th, and they had to shut down operations at the transfer station on South Wenatchee Avenue. It's still closed. They're still making repairs, so if you need to take a load to the dump, your options are to take it to the dump itself up there in East Wenatchee off of Webb Street, or you can take it to the Dryden transfer station. The Dryden transfer station only takes residential garbage, that's it. You can take any kind of garbage that you want up to the Waste Management dump itself up there in East Wenatchee. Residential garbage only for the Dryden transfer station. If you just have yard debris, you can take it to the Stemilt Organic Recycling Compost Facility on South Wenatchee Avenue. But the Waste Management transfer station on the south end of town is still closed. Heads up on that. 7.5 minutes after the hour, we're going to take a break, and then we'll come back with your news. And there's quite a bit to get to on this Tuesday. The news is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 2 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
I told Miss Nielsen about Simon. He's the best doctor because I like the medicines like he gives me.
He asks more questions, and that's why I feel like he's more interested in the health. For me, it means a lot. That means he really cares about him.
I like you, Simon, and you're my best friend.
Hi, Justin here, owner of Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere. Club Crow is your place for famous blues, brews, and barbecue. We are your one-stop bar and grill, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Looking for a fun night out? Join us at Club Crow Saturday nights. We have live bands to rock the night away. Club Crow is bringing comedy to Cashmere. Check out our Facebook page for upcoming dates. Live jam session first Sunday of every month. Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere, the coolest place in town.
Welcome back to this Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. 9 minutes after the hour, lots of sunshine, just a couple of passing high clouds, 61 degrees. We'll top off to the mid to upper 80s today, really right through the weekend, but lots of sunshine, a very nice week from Mother Nature, and we appreciate it. Here's what's making headlines. Of course, it wasn't a very nice weekend, Mother Nature-wise, with the rain and a family farm in the Waterville area destroyed on Saturday night as a result of all that rain and then a mud flow that caused flooding on the property. With more details from the farm, here's our very own Kyle Montgomery.
The thunderstorms that hit the Wenatchee Valley this past Saturday had more of an effect on some than others, especially the Ludman family farm located off Highway 2 in Waterville. The family farm was decimated by a massive mud flow on the Waterville Plateau this past weekend, leaving an estimated $300,000 in damage. The Ludmans were at the racetrack the night of the storm and were unaware of the flood in the area until 3 hours after it occurred and came home to find the entire property covered in water. Antique homes, shops, collectible cars, boats, pickups, an RV, and the family's physical house were all destroyed in the disaster Saturday evening, and the Ludmans unfortunately do not have flood insurance, leaving them without coverage for most of the items destroyed. Farm owner Joe Ludman spoke with NCW Life on how the flood and not being insured has affected him, his farm, and his family.
And about a mile swath going north and south for 15 miles or so. you have what we have right here. Lots of damage to the fields and the roads, but this is where it all collected and pooled together and took out everything. And then I was informed we don't have flood insurance, so we're in the midst of negotiating through that. So really don't know where we stand, don't know if we're going to get any insurance. Do appreciate the people of Waterville and friends from out of town and people I've never even heard of donating already to GoFundMe pages.
Ludeman continued by saying that although nothing is official yet, he believes everything on the farm was destroyed and it is the worst case scenario possible.
I would say it's worst case scenario. We haven't had professionals determine that yet, but to me it looks like everything is a total loss. Going forward, I have no idea. I don't know what I'm going to do.
A GoFundMe has been set up and shared on Facebook by Waterville resident Jeremy Onders, where people can donate to the Ludeman family in their time of need. With NCW Life, I'm Kyle Montgomery.
Thank you, Kyle, for that report. The weekend thunderstorms, they also sparked about a dozen new wildfires in Central Washington. This is according to SWCC, the Central Washington Interagency Communications Center, which is located at Pangborn Memorial Airport. Assistant Manager Jonathan Nash said crews were kept busy on several fronts.
You know, across the area we had roughly 13 starts from our coverage area east of the Cascades. All of them really small in size, nothing more than an acre. And yeah, we have resources out on nearly all of them except for a couple in the wilderness down in the Natchez area, up in the Goat Rocks Wilderness, which they'll be in monitor status and then probably doing some recon on them later this week.
Meanwhile, Debbie Kelly with the U.S. Forest Service says cooler and wetter weather helped crews working the Devore Creek fire in the Glacier Peak Wilderness. It remains at about 450 acres, and also heavy rains served to dampen down the Williams Flats fire, which is now 50% contained, but still over 45,000 acres have burned there. Speaking of fires, a preliminary investigation suspects possibility of arson as the cause of the fire that destroyed a South Wenatchee home last week. Chelan County Fire District 1 Chief Brian Brett says the exact cause of the fire back on August 5th is yet to be determined, but he says evidence suggests it was intentionally set.
We have a good area of origin on the fire. However, the actual cause is undetermined. Looks like most probable human cause. We have posted the property with the Arson Alarm Foundation signs, and the Arson Alarm Foundation is a program that has an annual pot of $10,000 worth of money. And based on the number of nominations and the quality of information we get from people on investigations determines the award amount.
The older two-story wood frame home was located behind Gray's Electric. They own the property. The structure was totally gutted. A neighboring garage also sustained some exterior damage from the heat. The public is asked to call the fire department if they have any information that could help the ongoing investigation. A 52-year-old Spokane woman spent 3 hours Sunday night in the waters of O'Sullivan Reservoir, wearing a life jacket and clinging to a gas can before she was rescued. The Grand County Sheriff's Office used a drone with an infrared camera to locate the woman. This is about 10:45 on Sunday night. She had been aboard a 16-foot vessel that sank about 8 p.m. on the reservoir about 15 miles south of Moses Lake. Her 40-year-old companion, wearing a life jacket, was able to swim to shore along Highway 262 and summon help. Numerous agencies and citizens searched for the woman in the dark before she was spotted on the drone camera. She was taken to Harborview Medical Center in Seattle, being treated for hypothermia and inhaling gas fumes. In other news on this Tuesday, a Wenatchee attorney who crashed his car into a condominium complex back in April reached a plea deal that resulted in reduced charges and $800 in fines and court fees. 55-year-old Peter Fraley was fined for second-degree negligent driving after initially being charged with reckless driving and hit and run. Late on the night of April 26th, Fraley apparently missed a turn on McKittrick Street and Stella Avenue in Wenatchee and swerved into a lawn, hitting a tree before crashing into a condo unit. Witnesses reported he drove away at a high speed. He contacted Wenatchee police the next day. John Brangwyn is Pete Fraley's attorney. He said they worked with both the building owner and the tenant.
So originally, Mr. Fraley was charged by a citation issued by the Wenatchee Police Department with hit and run. I had told the officer when he issued the citation that I believed that no criminal activity had taken place by Mr. Fraley, and in the end, that's exactly how the case resolved. The way we resolved the case is we reached out to both the tenant and the landlord of the building that Mr. Fraley struck, and we were able to make sure that all of the damages caused by Mr. Fraley were paid for. Mr. Fraley's insurance paid for most of the damage, if not all the damage, and then Mr. Fraley also paid both the landlord and the tenant some additional funds for things that weren't covered by his insurance company, so some additional compensation. And in exchange, both the landlord and the tenant agreed that the criminal charge of hit and run could be dismissed. And so the court, having the declaration of both the landlord and the tenant saying they agreed with the dismissal, the court dismissed the hit and run charge. There is a $250 court cost that came along with that. The prosecutor, while we were litigating the case, also added a charge of reckless driving. That is a criminal offense. However, we resolved that case where the special prosecutor reduced that charge from a criminal charge to a traffic infraction. That traffic infraction is negligent driving in the second degree. Mr. Fraley admitted that he did commit that traffic infraction and paid a $550 fine for that traffic ticket. That was the maximum fine that's allowed for that ticket. And so the total costs he paid were $800. He was not convicted of any crimes, which again is what I predicted would happen from the very beginning.
Travelers who regularly use US 97A can help choose the best times for road closures on construction work that's planned for next year. The Washington State Department of Transportation is holding open houses this week to seek public comment regarding the best time for those road closures. Specialized contractors will remove loose rock and debris from the slopes adjacent to US 97A to reduce the risk of rocks and boulders falling onto the highway. At the upcoming in-person and online open houses, the public can comment on whether all-day or short half-hour closures make more sense for the area. Of course, longer closures mean they can get more work done, but it also affects travel times and vice versa for shorter duration choices. The open houses will be held today at Chelan City Hall and then tomorrow in Aniat at the Grange Hall. Both events are from 4 to 7 in the afternoon. And that's what's making headlines on this Tuesday morning. Don't forget, we have a newscast that will come your way tonight at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock with Grant Olson in the anchor chair. Grant also does our weather forecasting. This is the time of the year where Grant really has nothing to say for weather. Drives him nuts. You know, he wants weather to talk about, and there really isn't any weather to talk about, but he'll do his best. Grant in the anchor chair, Eric Granstrom with sports. Check out the news tonight at 5, 6, and 10. And don't forget to drop us a line, send us an email, news@ncwlife.com. If there's something out there that's making you think warrants our attention, we'd love to hear from you. News@ncwlife.com. You can also drop us a line on our Facebook page, pick up the telephone and give us a call. We'd love to hear from you, our viewers. This is as much your station as it is ours. 19 minutes after the hour, holding steady at 61 degrees, mid to upper 80s today, but lots of sunshine for everybody. We're talking playoff baseball. It's as good as it gets. The AppleSox start their quest for the championship tonight. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Wowee! Collins Fashions has all your needs for summer events. Cool tanks and tees, Bermudas, skirts, capris, ankle pants, embellished jeans, pretty sundresses. And ladies, we have amazing special occasion dresses for your weddings and cruises. All washable in many flattering styles and colors. Collins has over 100 different styles of sandals and shoes for your lifestyle. Tommy Bahama for men and women is in stock and we can special order just for you. Come in soon to your Brighton headquarters where fun meets fashion in downtown Wenatchee.
Only one dealership in Wenatchee has Motor Trend's SUV of the Year and Truck of the Year. That's right, Town Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram has the all-new Jeep Wrangler and the all-new Ram 1500 pickup. Or get the best of both worlds in the new Jeep Gladiator. Visit Town Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram today for more information on these award winners and see why there's no reason to leave town to buy your next vehicle.
Welcome back. 20 minutes after the hour. Let's do sports. Tonight's the night for the Wenatchee AppleSox. They've been working towards this all summer long. It's the first game of the playoffs. Wenatchee will host Victoria. Game 1 of the divisional series, Paul Thomas Senior Stadium. First pitch, 6:35. Victoria took 5 of 6 from the AppleSox during the regular season, but both teams have a much different look now, according to head coach Kyle Krustangel.
You see both lineups are very different. A lot of close games. Got walked off on twice on 2 bizarre plays up at their place. So very easy could have been a split. But again, records are 0-0 right now. It's 4 teams that are truly good enough to compete to win the title. It's kind of pitching and defense. Who's going to go up and throw some zeros in the air column, and who's going to get the more zeros on the board. So we like where we sit. Our guys are hungry. A lot of the new guys are blessed for the opportunity, which is kind of a little bit different. In terms of their internal motor to play. They're fired up to be here to play, for Wenatchee. And I really believe the most gelled team that plays clean baseball will be the team that wins. So I like where we stand. It's important to go out there and get game 1. Kind of put you in the driver's seat. And again, we're fired up with the arms that we have going against Victoria.
With only 8 of the 19-man roster seeing any kind of significant playing time for the Wenatchee AppleSox, Krustangel says his approach to the postseason is a lot different than it is in the regular season.
You get to the postseason and it's best arms around. You're going to have starters go as long as possible, but at the same time, you're not afraid to burn your closer earlier. You're not afraid to have guys extend. If they're used to being 1-inning guys, you might see Brett Gillis go for 4 if need be. So, no, the scores are going to be tighter. Defense is focused, more locked in. So again, I look for some low-scoring games. I think to address the offense, you're going to see some different style of play, much different lineup than we had 2 weeks ago. We're going to be forced to play a little bit more small ball. Might see some squeeze bunts, some earlier bunting and situational hitting to truly get the offense sparked. I think with Sam on the mound, game 1, we need to push across only a few runs.
Yeah, the AppleSox are going to go with their ace, UCLA freshman Jake Somm. He's a big lefty. He can throw 4-1 in the regular season, 2.80 ERA. The Harbor Cats will start Lower Columbia College freshman Dakota Hawkins, who was 1-1 this year, with a 3.12 ERA. My entire conversation with not only Coach Kyle Krustangel, but the voice of the AppleSox, Joel Norman, will be coming up in the second half of the program. First pitch tonight, best of 3 series, 6:35. The divisional playoff series in the South, of course, features Corvallis and Walla Walla. Game 1 tonight before they shift down to Oregon, and they have a best of 3 series. They'll start at 6:35 tonight. So, again, Wenatchee AppleSox at home against Victoria. Walla Walla will take on Corvallis at home at Barleski Stadium. And then Corvallis and Victoria will host games 2 and 3 if necessary. And the winners of the divisional series will move on to the championship. The M's are in Detroit for the first of 3 games, taking on the Tigers at Comerica Park. Good seats still available. How many people are going to show up to this one? The Tigers have the worst record in Major League Baseball, and Seattle has the 5th worst record in Major League Baseball. Tigers will go with Matthew Boyd in game 1 tonight. He's 6-8 with a 4.16 ERA. The Mariners will counter with UC Kikuchi, who is 4-8 with a 5.34 ERA. First pitch, 4:10 this afternoon. To the Les Schwab scoreboard, to the American League West, as we're deeper and deeper into the pennant race. On Monday, Texas had a forgettable day in Toronto. They lost to the Blue Jays 19-4. Justin Smoke, you remember him, former Mariner, hit one of 4 Toronto home runs in the 3-for-5 day at the plate with 4 RBIs. The Pirates roughed up Angels starter Jose Suarez for 6 runs in 3 innings. Pittsburgh went on for the 10-2 win. The visitors hit 4 home runs over the wall at Angel Stadium. And Houston rained out in Chicago, that toddle in town, so the Astros and the White Sox will make it up today in a doubleheader. Hey, let's talk Seahawks football. Seahawks safety Tedrick Thompson entering his 3rd year in a Seattle uniform. He says he feels much more confident in his abilities and his knowledge of the game, thanks in large part to the veterans who helped him along the way.
When I got here, it was Nico and D-Shed that was helping me a lot. A lot of stuff wasn't clicking, and D-Shed, take time out of his day to bring me up to the DB meeting room and go over a whole grip of special teams, and after special teams, we'll go over a whole lot of defense. So I was learning a lot, and I still actually had a lot of questions now. We meet in the mornings and stuff like that. So just having another, older brother like that, be able to help Shed, probably like 35, 36, Shed old, so we still young, you feel me? So to have an old guy like that help us a lot. Yeah, it's crazy because he can play nickel, left corner, right corner, Mike, Will, Sam, free safety, strong safety, so he can play whatever he wants. And that just shows a lot about him, how smart he is. You can put him through 1 through 5 on kickoff. Like, you literally can put Shed on every position on the field, you know what I'm saying? So it just helps a lot.
Coach Pete Carroll says he's been very happy with the maturation of Thompson in just 3 seasons.
He plays like a veteran. He knows what's going on. He can make all the calls. He can help guys get lined up. He understands what's going on the other side of the ball a lot well, where he can help a lot in just recognizing and identifying stuff. So he was a fast starter learning-wise, and so he's in good shape right now. He's like a true veteran playing back there.
Well, I also learned something new about quarterback Russell Wilson. Don't offer him a ride on a roller coaster.
No. There's a terrible story behind it. It's a long story. But no. And the funny thing is, Sierra really is a roller coaster person. So anytime we go to Disney World, and my kids are too, so like I'm the one person that's like, okay, chickening out, and then they're like, you better get on this roller coaster. So, if my kids can do it, I should do it. So I've started to learn. I've started to do it.
You're missing out, Russell. Seattle prepping for their second preseason game of the year. They'll take on Minnesota in Minnesota on a nationally televised game Sunday at 5 o'clock. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Tuesday. Let's move forward at 27 minutes after the hour. It's the obscure holiday of the day today. And guess what I'm having for dinner tonight? How about a filet mignon? Ooh. Yeah, the special of the specialty cuts of beef. It's as good as it gets. Filet mignon is French for cute filet or dainty filet. Of course, the filet mignon comes from the most tender portion of the tenderloin, and because of that, it's one of the most prized cuts of beef out there, so it's also the most expensive cut of beef out there. You commonly cut it, and it's supposed to be served thick, 1 to 2 inch thick portions. You grill it, serve it as is. You sear it under really high heat on each side for just about a minute, and then you turn down the heat quite a bit, and you let it cook all the rest of the way through. When you go to the grocery store, you will almost always find a filet mignon wrapped in bacon, and there's a reason for that. Not only does it help with the flavor, but since there's almost no fat at all in a filet mignon, the bacon juices keep the filet mignon from drying out as you cook it. And of course, if you put a little peppercorn in there, a red wine sauce reduction, ooh, it's a party in your mouth. Filet mignon, the most tender of all the steaks. Celebrate one today, but don't overdo it. A nice 8-ounce filet mignon will get the job done. I've had filet mignons that you can cut with a spoon. Oh, I'm hungry. 28 minutes after the hour, today in history. Stay with me on this. August 13th, 1910, 109 years ago today. There was the box score, but it doesn't really tell the story. The most evenly matched baseball game ever played. It was the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Brooklyn Superbas, who would later be known as the Brooklyn Dodgers. Here was the situation. They each team had 13 hits, 38 at-bats, 5 strikeouts, 3 walks, 1 hit batter, 1 passed ball, 13 assists, 27 putouts, 2 errors, and they used 2 pitchers. Unbelievable. The most evenly matched baseball game of all time. And the final score, Pittsburgh 8, Brooklyn 8. They had no lights in those days, and they called the game after 9 innings because of darkness. The most evenly played baseball game ever played happened on the state 109 years ago. That's probably why I love baseball so much. 58 years ago today, August 13th, 1961, East Germany closes the border between the eastern and western sections of Berlin because, well, people were trying to get from East Berlin to West Berlin. We have some footage to show you. This is B-roll, Megan, by the way. I forgot to mention that. Of course, East Germany claimed that the wall was an anti-fascist protective rampart intended to dissuade aggression from the West. Yeah, they said this was strictly defensive because if we're not careful, the folks in West Berlin are going to invade East Berlin. Nobody bought that. The East German government also said that the West Berliners were buying state-subsidized goods in East Berlin. That wasn't true. The bottom line is, most of the time, the border, before they built the wall, was closed for citizens of East Germany traveling to the west. So citizens of East Berlin were not allowed to travel to West Berlin, but residents of West Berlin were allowed to travel to East Berlin. And eventually, so many people tried to go from East Berlin to West Berlin, they said, to heck with it, they closed it. They put up a wall, it divided families, and when they realized that there was a wall that was going up that was going to cut the city in two, people tried to get through, and well, quite frankly, they got shot. Yeah, the Berlin Wall, they began construction of that on this date back in 1961. And finally, on this date, 48 years ago today, August 13th, 1971, John Lennon had some business in England. He visited his Aunt Mimi in Liverpool, went down to London, had to take care of some business with Apple Music and a few other odds and ends. And on August 13th, 1971, John and Yoko boarded a plane at Heathrow Airport, landed in LaGuardia Airport in New York City. John Lennon never set foot on his native British soil again. He left Britain and never returned on this date, August 13th, 1971. And finally, we got some birthdays for you. Alfred Hitchcock, the king of suspense. There's Alfred Hitchcock, was born on this date in 1899, lived to the age of 80. The director of movies like Suspicion, Rebecca, Rear Window, one of my all-time favorites. Rope is a must-watch. Lifeboat, Dial in for Murder, Vertigo, North by Northwest, The Birds, To Catch a Thief, Psycho. Alfred Hitchcock. His movies were all good. Was born on this date in 1899, lived to the age of 80. Died in 1980, as a matter of fact. To me, he's the greatest golfer ever. All due respect to Jack Nicklaus, to Arnold Palmer, to Tiger Woods, but to me, the greatest golfer who ever lived was Ben Hogan, who was born on this date in 1912, one of only 5 golfers to complete the career Grand Slam. 4 U.S. Opens, 2 Masters Championships, 2 PGA Championships, and the 1953 Open Championship. The best there ever was, in my opinion. Bantam Ben Hogan, born on this date in 1912. And happy birthday to Bone, Jay Buhner, 55 years old today, a Mariner legend. On July 21st, 1988, the Yankees made one of their great boneheaded moves. They traded Jay Buhner to the Mariners. The Yankees, in exchange, got Ken Phelps. Worked out pretty good for the Mariners. And, of course, he's in the Seattle Mariner Hall of Fame. Happy birthday, Jay Buhner, 55 years old today. We're going to take a break. When we come back, hippie Mike Magnotti has an opinion. He's got an opinion on a lot of things. We'll get to everyone's entitled to Mike Magnotti's opinion. And then my conversation held at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium yesterday with Joel Norman and Kyle Krustangel. We're talking AppleSox baseball, playoff baseball. When we come back, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
Choose the pros, Alignment Pros. When your vehicle needs brakes, shocks, struts, or alignment, choose the experts in their field. Alignment Pros and Express Lube with a 5-star rating. The work they perform on your vehicle is as impeccable as their shop. With state-of-the-art equipment, Alignment Pros can handle all large or small vehicles, specialty cars, lifted or lowered. Alignment Pros does them all. Keep your car in top shape at Alignment Pros and Express Lube in East Wenatchee.
How much are you paying for adult, family, or assisted living? Epladolin Retirement and Assisted Living offers 1-bedroom apartments for one affordable price. Their rates are all-inclusive, no nickel or diming or sudden increases, just one set price. You or your loved one will receive good food and excellent care in a relaxed, home-like environment. Stop on by for a tour to see if the Epladolin family is the right choice for you.
Family-owned and operated, Epladolin Retirement and Assisted Living in Cashmere. Affordable care.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Some jobs are a calling. They call on something higher, something deeper, and a commitment to country that never dies. At Gisa Credit Union, we help you support local veterans. With every purchase you make with a Giza Local Heroes Affinity debit card, we make a donation to select veterans organizations. After all, we can never repay them, but we can do our best to help a little with the Giza Veterans Affinity debit card.
When you call Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, you get 35 years of experience and customer service in the Wenatchee Valley. Dick's friendly staff strongly believe in repairing before replacing and service all major brands of HVAC units. Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning is your local, independent, trained comfort specialists, proudly serving all of North Central Washington. Call 884-6444 today.
With 15,000 square feet to explore, you'll find something special at the Antique Mall at Cashmere. For the do-it-yourselfers and those with a keen eye for making something old fresh and new again, the Antique Mall at Cashmere is the place to come find your next project. From the coin enthusiasts to avid collectors, Antique Mall at Cashmere has treasures in every corner. Come find your treasure today. Antique Mall at Cashmere's friendly staff is here to help. Stop on by today.
Hey, this is Mike, Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, a gal I took out on a date once, her parents laughed at me. Well, they didn't laugh at me, but they laughed later on about me after I brought their daughter home. Now, their daughter, she was a nice clean-cut girl, kind of the girl next door kind of gal, and I was a hippie, long hair, short, shirt untucked, and a clothing style that could only be called alternative. Well, I guess I was not the kind of boy that they thought their daughter would attract, and they found me amusing. Well, I wish I could run into those folks now. I'd like to see those people look them in the eye and say, yeah, I was a slob then, and I'm a slob now, so your amusement is justified. Yep, this is Mike, Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody's entitled to my opinion.
After 21 years at the Lake Chelan Mailboxes store, Jerry and Sherry are ready to retire. Jerry and Sherry would like to thank everyone and give some lucky person a business opportunity. That's right, you could own a great small business in Lake Chelan with a proven track record. This includes FedEx, UPS, and USPS services, making it a unique offer. For information on buying Chelan mailboxes, call Jerry or Sherry, and while you're there, wish them well.
Presenting a whole new line of more powerful, more fuel-efficient tractors from Coyote. It may not be the kind your grandfather bought 60 years ago, but it's probably the kind he'd buy today. Test drive one at your local Coyote dealer.
Rose Tractor, quality brands you can trust year after year.
I have a hereditary bone disease from the female side of my family. My bone loss was so significant that you could almost see the roots. I became embarrassed and I started covering my mouth. Eating became very difficult as far as I stopped eating apples, corn on the cob, things that you just eat as it is without utensils. Dr. Divis was my dentist prior to having implants. We talked about traditional dentures or implants, and implants was the only way really that I could go. John Divis and all of his office staff, they checked on me throughout all the processes. I would never go anyplace else. Today, I can eat corn on the cob, I can have apples. Thanks to Dr. John Divis and his staff, I have my smile back. I feel more confident. I am me again.
This is John Divis. Let our team help you solve your dental needs.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We're at Paul Thomas Senior Field, AppleSox playoff baseball. We haven't had a chance to say that since 2013, but by golly, they punched their ticket. They're in the Final Four. They'll be playing the Victoria Harbor Cats in the best 2 of 3 series. Game 1 tonight, Paul Thomas Senior Field. And joining me once again is our good friend Joel Norman, making his very first appearance ever on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, and of course the head coach of the Wenatchee AppleSox, Kyle Krustangel. Welcome to the program, kids.
Oh, we're excited to be here. Thank you.
It's good to have you back. You're back from Corvallis.
Corvallis has been the class of the league for the last 5 years. No surprise on the sweep. But for you, Kyle, I'll start it with you. All of these teams that are in the playoffs are dealing with really fluctuating rosters. Who do you play? How do you play them? Can I get them eligible for the playoffs? You're dealing with a whole nother scenario now that we've never had to worry about before.
Yeah, exactly right. We went down to Corvallis, and we had to save our arm. So it's at times you want to roll out certain guys, but the playoffs are what we're gunning for. So we saved everything we have for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I like how we're lined up. Obviously got Sam going game 1, which is very exciting. But yeah, the roster it turns over, but everyone's in the same boat, and it's kind of next man up and no excuses. We're ready to get after it, and I think the most important part is who's got the best pitching, and I really like what we have. We have our 1, 2, and 3 that's here. We didn't lose any arms per se there. So again, we're fired up, ready to go.
Well, you can't win it all unless you make the playoffs, and we're in the playoffs, Joel. So this is your first AppleSox playoff series coming up.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
it's really exciting. I think we've really enjoyed the fan support all year, and we're hoping that kind of continues. It's tough marketing a playoff game because they're on the schedule, but you don't know which days there's going to be home games. And what a group to make it back to the postseason. All year long, no matter who's been on the field or in the dugout, this team is gelled. It's been a pleasure to be calling games for them all year, to watch them be around the guys, and we're hoping that continues to roll on here in the postseason.
Now, Victoria took 5 of 6 from the AppleSox this year, but again, not the same Harbor Cat team that you played earlier in the year, right? What's going on, Kyle?
Yeah, no, much different. You see both lineups are very different. A lot of close games. Got walked off on twice on 2 bizarre plays up at their place. So very easy, could have been a split. But again, records are 0-0 right now. It's 4 teams that are truly good enough to compete to win the title. It's kind of pitching and defense. Who's going to go up and throw some zeros in the air column, and who's going to get the more zeros on the board. So we like where we sit. Our guys are hungry. A lot of the new guys are blessed for the opportunity, which is kind of a little bit different in terms of their internal motor to play. They're fired up to be here to play for Wenatchee, and I really believe the most gelled team that plays clean baseball will be the team that wins. So I like where we stand. It's important to go out there and get game 1. Kind of put you in the driver's seat, and again, we're fired up with the arms that we have going against Victoria.
It's funny you mentioned clean baseball because Joel and I talked about this on the show. If there was one Achilles heel to this team early in the year, it was defense. They were struggling with basic defense, but they've fixed that little problem, haven't they?
I think they've gotten a lot better defensively. Yeah. There's still some newcomers still kind of trying to figure some things out, but overall, I've been really impressed with how the defense is kind of locked down. There's the early season mistakes. A lot of times when you're playing with new players, it's inevitable. There's going to be miscommunication. You'll see that among the best teams, miscommunication at times. But I think the defense has really improved. The biggest question for this AppleSox team is stringing together hits. Like Kyle said, we know the pitching is there for the Sox, but are they going to get enough offense? Because you've got 3 lights-out arms who might only allow a couple runs over 3 days.
Right.
But are you going to get enough runs for them?
Does that tradition hold true, Kyle? We talk about this at the major league level. You see in the regular season games, you see 10-8 games and 12-10 games. And the playoffs roll around and they all become 4-3 and 2-1 games. Is that an old adage or is it true?
No, it's true. I think when you're in season play, you're setting up for the series. You don't want to burn your top 4 arms in one game because that kind of hinders you the next 2 or 3 days. You get to the postseason and it's best arms around. You're going to have starters go as long as possible, but at the same time, you're not afraid to burn your closer earlier. You're not afraid to have guys extend. If they're used to being 1-inning guys, you might see Brett Gillis go for 4 if need be. So, no, the scores are going to be tighter. Defense is focused, more locked in. So again, I look for some low-scoring games. I think to address the offense, you're going to see some different style of play, much different lineup than we had 2 weeks ago. We're going to be forced to play a little bit more small ball. Might see some squeeze bunts, some earlier bunting and situational hitting to truly get the offense sparked. I think with Sam on the mound, game 1, we need to push across only a few runs. So with that said, instead of waiting to play small ball at the end, let's get a lead early and just extend the lead 1 run at a time. We might not have the innings of 4 through 5 in terms of the crooked numbers on the board, and that's okay. If we can score in 4 or 5 innings, even if it's 1, we'll take that all day long given the pitchers that are going to be on the mound. So I think we'll see a little bit different style. We've We've known that going in, and it's okay. We've got to play to the guys that we have, and again, we just like the arms that are on the mound, to give us a good shot to win.
Kyle and I were talking off microphone. Obviously, you all travel together on the team on the charter bus. They punched their ticket 4 games to go, so they knew they were going to go in the playoffs. They knew they were going to play Victoria. Trip to Corvallis, was it more like a little mini vacation, Joel? Was it all business? I mean, the guys know they're going to the playoffs, and Kyle himself has to figure out how to put the roster to make everybody eligible. Talk about the just completed road trip down in Oregon.
What I saw was it's still a relatively new team for the most part, especially offensively. So a lot of the guys are still trying to get in their groove. So it might be a formality on paper, but I think a lot of the guys are still trying to compete, knowing we've got to still try our best to make an impression and get a spot in the postseason. Would we have liked to have scored more than 3 runs? Absolutely. But that's a great pitching staff on the other hand. And Corvallis, they haven't lost a ton of players.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said, some teams have lost a lot, like the AppleSox, some haven't. It all just depends on where you're pulling guys from. But I think the guys still had their foot on the gas pedal. It just didn't go the way they would have liked.
Talk about the roster turnover, Kyle. It's your baby. Every time I see you, you got your cell phone working, buddy. Where are we now? Who is now gone, and who's come in? Some names to talk about.
Yeah, I'd say, guys that have been here for less than 10 games that are people to circle. Torrin Montgomery, drafted by the Marlins. He's an absolute threat. He'll be in the 4-hole. Backspun a lot of baseballs, left the yard a few times. So he's definitely one that I'm sure the fans remember from the Ridgefield series. Another new one that I'm excited to bring to Wenatchee was Tanner Smith. He was supposed to be with us all summer, was rehabbing a back, just joined up with us. He was the starting 2-hole for the Ducks over at Oregon, had himself a nice season, hit over 300, really stung some baseballs in Corvallis, didn't have all the hits to show for it, but the guy that can leave the yard in a hurry. And I look for him and Torrin to really carry the offensive load. I think Jermaine Ducharme, he's been great. He'll be in the 3-hole, just joined up with us. A lot of base hits early, gets on base, kind of a scrapper. Guys, people will like, the energy he brings, the looseness he brings. I'd say those 3 guys are newer guys to the Sox that, if we're going to make a run at this thing and win, I fully believe it's because of a few game-changing swings from those 3. So again, I look for the fans to really see those guys and embrace them, and they're excited to be home. And everyone else has played at home at least once but Tanner Smith. So
okay.
I do think the fans are going to love what they see out of the Duck. He'll have his green and yellow batting gloves on, so he sticks out. It was tough for him to open up at Oregon State. You heard a lot of the Duck calls. They're a little ruthless, the Oregon State-Oregon rivalry. So he got treated pretty well back at Oregon State. So, no, all jokes aside. So he's excited to get here, though.
Your job, of course, is to recruit these latecomers and get them on the roster and make them eligible for the playoffs. But you know these guys. You know their talents. You know these players. You're a baseball lifer. Joel, from a broadcasting perspective, you got to deal with a different lineup every night. I mean, how do you do that? Who's this guy? Where do they come from? Can I go meet him? How does that work?
Well, it's great practice for what I want to do someday. It feels like professional level with all the turnover on the rosters. I mean, what I've been telling fans is this reminds me a lot of September call-ups. Some of these guys are getting up. Some are going to be in the postseason. Some aren't. If they were called up before August 31st or not. We had back-to-back pitchers Saturday and Sunday, guys who aren't eligible for the postseason. I said, learn their name for today. But they're done after today. This is basically the equivalent to September baseball for a team that's already competing and has earned a playoff spot and doesn't have anything left to prove in the regular season. But the new faces, it's nice. We're excited. We've gotten to know a lot of them already. Love the energy that they bring, and I give credit. I'm sure Kyle would too. I give credit to the guys who've still been around. Brett Gillis and Gavin Garrell are the only players who were here June 3rd who are still with the AppleSox.
Good for them.
And it's great. We love having them, but that's gigantic for their chemistry. And I give them a lot of credit for welcoming these new guys in and kind of teaching them what AppleSox baseball is all about.
Kyle, what are the challenges of scouting a Victoria Harbor Cats team that's really not the same team that you've been playing all year long? How do you scout an opponent that has got as much roster turnover as you have?
Yeah, I'd say there's some guys in that lineup that the coaching staff knows. There are a few guys that are on the team when we played them. We still have all of our spray charts. But I think this time of the year, it's just like a regular season game where if you can take care of the baseball and pitch and score a few runs, it doesn't really matter who's in their dugout. We always kind of make the joke of it's a new color over there every single day, and I'm sure they're going to be in their navy blues game 1 as we heard. But that's it. We take care of ourselves, and we do know the meat of the order. So we kind of know in terms of how to throw them and where to position guys. But at the same time, we have a lot different arms. You're going to have a firm lefty game game one. You might have a firm righty that closes. You might have Gavin Groh, a soft lefty, and then a backwards pitcher like Kuykendall going game two. So it's going to be, as you have the different arms, it's different matchups in that way per se. But I've always been the firm believer of we got to take care of ourselves, and we control the game, we control the pace and the tempo. And if we can set the tempo and make them play to our pace, score a few runs, and have our staff go out there, that to me is a recipe for success.
Score runs early.
Score runs early. Exactly.
That really
right.
put the pressure on the opposing team.
Especially this time of the year. If you can get a lead, a couple runs, teams start pressing, they want to leave the yard and try and change the game in one swing, and that's where you really start carving a lineup. They start just weak fly balls, they start striking out, they get out of their routine. So again, I look for us to play the first couple innings at game one and game two as if it's the 8th or 9th. So playing for that truly 1 to 2 runs, getting that lead and getting them out of rhythm, and all of a sudden you start getting some confident, free and easy type swings and ABs for us, and all of a sudden you do hang a big number on the board. So I look for us to kind of go in with that approach.
Joel, message for the AppleSox fans tonight. 6:35 first pitch. It's playoff baseball. That's pretty much all you need to know.
Yeah.
But the usual Tuesday shenanigans apply, right? You got some good stuff going on?
That's right. $2 off the price of admission. So that means tickets are as cheap as $5 for postseason.
I got $5.
There you go. That's that simple. Select concession items will also be $2 off. It's going to be a great night. If you have a rally towel, bring it. We want you to bring yours. If you don't, we have a few left over. We'll be passing some of those out. We want to bring a lot of energy tonight because you don't make the postseason every year. It used to be normal for the AppleSox, but this league has grown. The talent has improved, and it's harder to make the playoffs. So let's see what we can do. Why not? We said at the beginning of the year, why not the 20th season to add another title? And here we are at the end of the year with 4 wins to go.
Mm-hmm. Kyle, baseball doesn't lend itself to a pregame pep talk like other sports do, but when the team gathers in the clubhouse tomorrow before they start going into their warm-ups, what's your message to the AppleSox team?
Yeah, I think as you play each day, you don't have all the pep talks, but tomorrow will definitely be one. I think it's enjoy the moment. We've talked the last month about, hey, if you're going to be here, might as well win the whole thing. And at the same time, there's only so many times in your life, especially for these guys, that you can truly play for a dog pile and play for a chance to win a title. So I think that's the message. I do think just being loose, enjoy the moment. Use your routines. A lot of guys put added pressure in the postseason. But for our guys, communication and have fun. I think they're going to be the message that are strongly encouraged. We also got to leave everything on the line. There shouldn't be a reason we're not diving for balls and taking extra 90s. We got to err on the side of 110%, and I look for that to be the style as you're kind of not saving yourself down the stretch, but making sure your body's healthy for the postseason. Well, now it's time to go full gas pedal. So again, I look for that to be the message to the guys. We already know they're close, even the new guys. We have a great team chemistry. It'll be loud in the dugout. Seth will be dancing in the dugout. So, I know that stuff's already going to take care of itself, but let's go out there and then truly give the fans everything we got. And kind of like you guys said, I look forward to a great crowd. Some of these guys haven't got a chance to play in Wenatchee. Mm-hmm. The guys that have love being at home and love the support. I would love to see a packed house. Victoria's going to do the same when we get up to their place. So let's get Wenatchee, Sock Nation as the players call it. Let's get them here at Paul Thomas, and let's get rowdy and have a little fun.
And then there were 4 in the south. You have Corvallis taking on the Walla Walla Sweets, and up north, the Victoria Harbor Cats. And your Wenatchee AppleSox, 6:35 first pitch right here at Paul Thomas Senior Stadium. Baseball playoffs. It doesn't get any better than that. Kyle, my friend.
Yes, thank you.
Let's get ourselves a W. Absolutely. Joel, as always, for whatever reason, if you can't make it, you can listen to it on Sunny FM, the flagship station. Also, you can go to the AppleSox Facebook page.
That's right.
And check it out that way. But who's kidding who? This is where you want to be tonight at 6:35. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Transform your windows with a variety of colors and styles like the Allure Transitional Window Covering by Lafayette Interior Fashions. Hi, this is Darren with Mini Blinds and More. We can install the latest and greatest in technology to open and close your blinds with only a touch of a button. From the largest windows in your home to room darkening shades for the bedroom. From stylish shades for your entertainment room to custom blinds for those hard-to-fit places. We have a solution for all of your window covering needs. We offer a variety of window coverings from Lafayette Interior Fashions. Call us today. We are Mini Blinds and More, your local blind store.
Find it all at Wenatchee Valley Mall. Get your back-to-school favorites from Macy's, Marshall's, Ross, Hot Topic, Zoomies, and The Children's Place. No matter the age, Wenatchee Valley Mall is ready to fulfill all your back-to-school needs. Check out their website for current hot deals. From head to toe for the very latest in trends, start your school shopping tradition at Wenatchee Valley Mall.
My name is Ralph Sorensen, and I own Homestead Vinyl Products. We make vinyl fencing. We manufacture the vinyl fencing here. We also sell and install vinyl fencing.
Along with that, Homestead Vinyl Products sells cedar, chain link, custom-designed vinyl pergolas, arbors, gazebos, and ornamental fencing. To view complete projects, check their website, homesteadvinylpr.net, or stop by their showroom in Entiat on Highway 97A.
Here at the YWCA Thrift Store, our mission is to make positive change in the community by giving women and families the tools they need to regain economic stability through work experience and education. Featuring generously donated new and gently used furniture, housewares, clothing, and much more, the YWCA Thrift Store has something for the whole family. Shop, volunteer, or donate with us today.
Hey everyone, did you know that the NCW Life channel is North Central Washington's go-to source for news? No matter how you prefer to view your news, NCW Life has you covered. Watch the evening news weeknights on TV, stream it, read it at ncwlife.com, or catch the latest news by following us on Facebook. Stay informed with local news, sports, weather, and shows featuring local people and events. NCW Life, a reflection and a spotlight of the communities we call home.
Welcome to another edition of Harrod's Cookhouse Field to Table.
Outdoorsmen have been providing fresh food for American family tables for generations. Hunting and fishing is a way of life for our family, and we enjoy cooking delicious fish and game meals.
Oh, that's awesome.
We want to share our recipes with you. This is Harrod's Cookhouse Field to Table.
Watch Harrod's Cookhouse Field to Table Saturdays and Sundays at 5:30 and 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. on the NCW Life channel.
Are you watching me? If you're watching me and you are a business owner in North Central Washington, your potential customers could be seeing your TV commercial right now. With Solion Broadcasting, TV advertising is effective and affordable. Place your ads on the network best suited to your potential customers, or get top-of-mind awareness with 16 cable networks, including NCW Life, your local TV channel. Give Solion Broadcasting a call at 888-2020 today to see how easy and affordable it is to advertise on TV.
And we are back here live from Studio 3 in downtown Wenatchee on this Tuesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz, your host. Looking forward to playoff baseball tonight. We'll have highlights of the Harbor Cats and the AppleSox tomorrow right here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Let's close out the program where we began the program with your weather forecast. And as I mentioned about an hour ago, the reason that things are so quiet, so benign over our area is that we are under the influence of a zonal flow. And that got me curious, so I looked zonal flow up in the glossary here, in the weather glossary. And a zonal flow is a large-scale atmospheric flow in which the east-west component is dominant. The accompanying meridional or north-south component often is weaker than normal, so that's what a zonal flow is. I'm glad I straightened that out. So take a look-see at what we got here. Lots of sunshine today, mid to upper 80s for pretty much everybody. We hit 81 yesterday. We'll be warmer than that today. It's still right around the normal to just maybe a little bit above or below normal. It's just really not a lot out there to talk about. Just a really weak system's going to come in on Friday, going to kind of skirt by, which is why we have mostly sunny as opposed to all sunshine for Friday. But temperature is pretty typical for this time of year, or right around normal. We're losing daylight. We're losing about 2 minutes of daylight each day. Sunrise this morning was at 5:54. Sunset tonight will be at 8:16. That gives us 14 hours and 22 minutes of daylight. We're losing about a minute and a half, about 90 seconds of daylight per day as we get closer and closer to autumn. But still, we have, 6 weeks of summer still to go. And what you see there is indicative of that. Sunny and warm for everybody in North Central Washington. Lots of sunshine right now outside of our studios and 64 degrees. We got pretty good shows for you coming up for the rest of the week. Coming up tomorrow, they paid me a visit, and we got this interview on tape. Mark Miller and Jennifer Bouchong from the Town Toyota Center. They got a lot of things going on late on the summer and right on into fall. My conversation with Mark and Jennifer, you'll see that tomorrow. On Thursday, Dr. Daniel Pugmire will be my guest. He's a pediatrician with Confluence Health. As we get closer and closer to back to school, there's lots of things that parents need to know to make sure their kid is ready to either go back to school or begin their formal education from a health standpoint, including immunizations and how to prevent your kid from getting the flu when winter rolls around. All that good stuff. My conversation with Dr. Pugmire will come your way on Thursday, and more great guests all this week and into next week. Provided the show isn't canceled, we'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.